And got the artillery box that goes with the cannon. Battlefield that will be later.
How'd that come out? Was it? Just yeah. Probably shakes the hell out of it too. Yeah.
What do you need?
What are you using for settings? A? Are you?
Unless you need one to
Automatic. Oh, I thought you had blank cartridge. Yeah, no, I do aperture. Yeah, I'm doing aperture priority. Right now I'm doing it at 2.8, but my shutter speed's like at 1600. So I think I'm going to take the.
You said
How fast?
blank as opposed to, you know, has a ball in it.
800. Is that too fast?
Those two cartridge.
Okay.
Or a live cartridge.
Without 2000.
How long you been in this
No, I
man's
don't think
army?
800 is too fast.
Air Force.
Oh,
I'm going to
God,
put it
I
on
didn't
rapid
think that
on
one yet.
burst
You
mode.
fly balloons!
Fly 810 Thunder.
You fly balloons!
Be the infantry.
Balloons!
Ooh, that should take it off HDR, that's for sure. There we go.
Ready.
Kevin, to your left. Is she
Shit, I'm
okay?
at 4,000.
Because they got the gun cocked
Right
out
now.
that way.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
I'm just checking.
Yeah. Gun number one. Fire. Now we have everybody's attention.
I didn't know they were going to do it right now. No, I didn't either. I totally missed it. I was
If
still.
everybody wants to come up a little bit more from the back, so I don't have to yell quite so loud as we're doing this talk. And people back there in the back, come on up.
I do feel like okay, nice.
We're going to do some more shooting, but just, you know, don't. I'm just talking about the people in the back coming up, not the people in the front coming up. We want you to stay back a little bit. My name is Kevin Harris. I'm with the 1st Ohio Light Artillery Battery A. We are also a detachment out of the State House. We work with them for doing demonstrations at the State House when they're doing historical activities. And we also go around to different locations and do it on our own with our private guns. It's one of our private guns. This is a 6-pound field cannon. Fires a 6-pound round ball. It's not. This one is not rifle. Later on in the war, they started using rifled weapons, and they become a very much more particular piece of equipment. We at 3/4 of a mile are hoping we can hit a barn with this weapon. With the rifles, they're picking out which window they want to hit. That's the difference in accuracy between smoothbores and rifles. Also, we're hoping we do a little bit of damage to the barn. They're picking out which window, and they're also maybe going to hit the building behind it too while they're doing that. Fort Pulaski down in South Carolina, or down in Georgia, was designed to withstand a 3-day barrage from a couple batteries of these. It fell in 5 hours to rifles. That's how much more devastating the rifles are that start happening during this war. So, just a couple quick things about the guns in general that they have out there. I'm a little bit rusty on this. I haven't done this in a couple of years due to coronavirus, so I'm trying to feel my way back through it again. On the piece, everybody that's on the piece has a job. Everybody also is listed by you doing a number. Number 1. 1, 2, 2. Bob.
I'm close enough. I always thought one was me, two is the guy that loads.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where I come from,
See how rusty?
it's not in the how we count different.
This is a ram sponge. One end of it's used to sponge out the weapon. During the war, they would do it about every 5 or 6 rounds. They would actually run it in there just to kind of take out a little bit of the fouling and come back out. We do it every time to make sure all the embers are completely extinguished. During the war, they were fighting with real bullets. Real bullets were coming at them. It takes a little extra time. You just kind of cut out some of the safety stuff at that point. The other end is a ram. Use that to ram the cartridge into the barrel. So we'll do an actual demonstration where we're showing how all this stuff works here in a little bit. Number 2.
Stamper and you go,
That's what's called the worm.
yeah.
We use the worm to go in after our aluminum cartridges. We have aluminum cartridges. They're cheaper than having a bunch of linen cartridges. During the war, they used linen cartridges. They would burn up around it, leaving nothing inside the barrel. So they didn't have anything to go in after. So the real reason why they would have one of those is if you try firing off the round and it just didn't go off. Didn't have anything to go in after. So the real reason why they would have one of those is if you try firing off the round and it just didn't go off. You go in there with that to go in there and rip it out, pull it out, and at any point it could maybe go off. We've been looking for some volunteers to help us with that part of the drill. Anybody want to volunteer for reaching in there and grabbing the live round that's already been tried? We already tried firing once. We never get volunteers for that. We also never get volunteers for ball catcher. Go down there. Number 3. He has what's called the prick in the one hand. It's used to prick a hole in that cartridge that we were just talking about, so that when we fire the gun, we use a little primer up at the top. It puts a fire charge going into the main powder bag, explodes the main powder bag, and fires out the round. On the other side, it's got a thumb stall. It's used to keep the oxygen from coming in from the back side of the cannon while you're loading it, to hopefully decrease the likelihood of actually having the gun go off prematurely. It was used at times as a firing weapon. If they got really hot and heavy in these, they could actually fire off the gun by lifting that thumb off the vent on the back. It didn't need a primer to fire it off anymore. Number 4 has what's called a lanyard. That is the string that attaches to the primer. The little primer there on there has enough gunpowder it has about the same amount of gunpowder as your .22 long rifle round does. Its sole purpose is to take that exploded gunpowder and fire the flame from it down the tube into the powder and fire off the powder. At that point, actually, if you watch very carefully, you might at some point see that little brass tube come flying down from the air. It goes about 20 feet up in the air when that all happens. Let's go to number 5 next. He's got what's called the gunner's haversack there. We use that to transport the round up to the front of the piece. We have 3 main types of rounds that we would use on this. We have a solid shot that is just exactly that. On this gun, it's a 6-pound round ball. It's fired downstream, and whenever it hits, it hits. Then there's 2 sub-variations called case and spherical case. They're both exploding rounds. During the Star-Spangled Banner, the bombs bursting in air. That's these guys. You're firing out there. The idea was to get it to explode about 30 feet above the enemy infantry, raining little pieces of shrapnel down on the infantry from all over. Trying to get as many guys as you can. The third round, we would use a solid round for this gun between 3/4 of a mile and a mile out. Under 3/4 of a mile to about 400 yards or so, about 1/4 mile, we'd be using that explosive round. When you get inside that 400-yard mark, we start looking at, it's time to start going into canister. It's a real, we don't want it visitors today piece of equipment. Basically, you take a coffee can, fill it up with 45 caliber balls, put some sawdust in it so it doesn't rattle too much while you're doing it, and you fire it down, and you put it in the gun and fire it. When it fires, that coffee can just kind of disintegrates all over the place, and you get 30, 40 of these 45 caliber balls just flying out at different angles, making this thing into a gigantic shotgun. with any one of those balls capable of removing people's arms, you know, immediately killing them, and at close range, making people just plain disappear. There's stories, especially the 12 pounders, when they get down to 150 to 100 yard range, they would literally just make 30, 40 yard areas of infantry disappear every time they fire. So that's the three main kinds of rounds that we have. Also back here we have a gunner. He has a pendulum hoss on him, and that's used for targeting the gun. It helps because of the way it's designed. If the gun's leaning a little bit one way or the other, it kind of centers itself out, so you can kind of get a pretty good feel for where that round's going to be going down range. Also on the back there's number 6 and a number 8. They would be going inside there. If they were doing one of those explosive rounds, they're cutting the fuse to the right length, so when this gun fires off, that explosive round takes 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever it is, before it explodes. It burns through that fuse, blows up the round. Automatic ignition when the gun goes off. So now we're going to go through nice and slow and do a live round here, so that you guys can see how the gun gets loaded, going slowly, and we'll fire off another round. Then we'll do one more where we do it full speed, let them go full speed where you can watch it. So, gunner, go ahead, give the command.
Gun number 1, load.
Load is
Blank cartridge by detail.
Load is one of the 3 commands that you'll hear him call out today. It's the first one. It tells numbers 1, 2, and 3 to go in and take their respective positions. Number 2 is going to hit the worm. We're going to do the full thing out, so he's just going to make sure nothing was in there. Number 1's going in, making sure everything's dead inside there. His primary job is to make sure any embers are out. He's going to turn the ram sponge around so that the gunner knows that he has got that task done and he's ready for a round to come up. The gunner does a non-verbal command to the number 5 that it's okay to take the round up after he takes a look, make sure it's the right round the way he wants it to be going up front. Sometimes they do get sent back to get corrected. Number 2 takes the round out of the haversack, introduces it to the muzzle. He gets out of the way. Number 1 will ram the round to the breech of the gun. He gets out of the way. Now the number 3 goes back to the back of the piece to help aim it, and the gunner comes up and does his targeting. Now everybody goes back to their normal positions, and the gunner gives his second command.
Gun number 1, ready.
You see the guys in the front go and put down their implements so that they're out of the way. Number 3 and 4 step in. First thing 3 does is he pricks the round so that he's got access to the gunpowder. Number 4 attaches the primer and steps out. And now all the kids, cover up your ears and open your mouths. As the gunner gives his 4th command.
Gun number 1, fire!
So that was about a half a pound of gunpowder. During the war, this weapon would have fired off a pound of gunpowder each time, and it would have then on top of that had that round on there, which also makes it much louder. If you've ever fired a blank and you fire a live round, you know the difference. We do the same thing here, except it's magnified. Right now you see they're working on extracting out the aluminum, the remains of the aluminum foil wrapper.
Yeah.
Cleaning the piece out. Just water in that bucket. Just something to kind of make sure if there's any embers left up inside there, that they're out of the way.
Gun number 1, with blank cartridge, load.
Under full load, full size gun, this gun would jump up about 3 feet and back about 5 to 10 feet.
How many rounds an hour can they fire?
we could actually pretty well keep up with the infantry as a piece, as a whole, being off. If we were really, really hot in a canister situation, we could get up to probably close to 3 rounds per minute.
Really?
We were under instructions from headquarters to only do 1 round per minute to make sure we're aiming, taking our time, making each round count. How many veterans you guys got out here that are out here? Remember Washington, don't waste ammunition? They were talking that back in the Civil War too. Don't waste ammunition. Take your time, aim well. They were talking about, especially with these guys, you know, firing off a pound of gunpowder plus all that round. You're pricking the round now. So kids, go ahead and cover up your ears so you're ready to go for it.
Gun number 1. Fire!
At this point, they're going to just kind of close up shop here. Once again, we're 1st Ohio Battery A. We're based out of Columbus. I'm personally from Cleveland. A lot of these guys from Zanesville and Columbus. We're looking for recruits. If anybody's interested in coming out and joining us with us, come out here, fire large artillery pieces. Once in a while, we even fire them live with real rounds. We have one of the guys has a place where he lets us do that. Once in a while, they come out. Any questions about the artillery or about the Civil War in general? This is a reproduction piece. We did not bring out any of the original pieces. There are 4 original pieces on each corner of the station.